So we are starting to see Tesla stock slow down and actually start reversing from the rally that it has been having. Now in the previous video, I talked about a stress test coming to Tesla stock, and in this video, I want to go ahead and amplify what exactly I meant in that video, but also talk about what's currently going on in the market as it's very pertinent to what's going on to Tesla stock. Now in that previous video, I talked about how Jerome Powell had recently testified in front of the House panel and Senate panel and continued a very hawkish tone. Now, what exactly do I mean by a hawkish tone? Well, we've heard Jerome Powell kind of more aggressively say that, hey, just because we pause now doesn't mean that we're going to stop hiking. And in fact, it's more likely that we're going to start hiking. And so this obviously caused some concern for the overall market. And this was a bit of a stress test for Tesla. However, it seems like the stress test is maybe perhaps getting a bit worse. For example, the Bank of England, which is basically the central bank of the UK, is actually hiking rates more than what everyone expected. Now the reason why this is being done is because core inflation in the United Kingdom actually started to trickle back up even higher again. Now this is concerning because in England we've actually been seeing inflation actually trickle down, but all of a sudden now there's a massive spike. And so now the overall big concern in the market is, hey, is the United States going to start to see a massive spike happen in inflation as well? So one of the key reports that we absolutely want to pay attention to is what's happening on June 30th. Now of course we have a bunch of data coming out on June 30th, but what I've highlighted in pink as the most important is the PCE report. Now this is the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index report. Now the reason why this report is really important to pay attention to is because this is the inflationary report that the Federal Reserve actually pays attention to, right? We have the CPI, Consumer Price Index, but the PCE report is actually what the Federal Reserve looks at when it comes to looking into inflation. And so the concern is, well, is inflation going to actually trickle up even higher again? Of course, if that happens, that's going to cause more panic into the market, because that means, well, hey, we are definitely having more rate hikes coming in the future. Now, this is the reason why when we take a look at the S&P 500 index ETF SPY, we see that there is a bit of a downtrend as well. There's a lot of concern happening in the overall market. However, there is a bit of a dichotomy between what the Federal Reserve, the central bank in the United States, has done, and also what the Bank of England, the central bank in the UK, has done, right? There's slight differences. For example, when it comes to the rate hikes done in the United Kingdom, they actually started hiking their rates a little bit earlier than what we did in the United States, but at a slower pace of just 25 basis points, a slower incremental pace. However, when we take a look at what the United States Federal Reserve done, we actually hiked rates, way after the United Kingdom started hiking rates, but at a much more aggressive pace. And so the main question is, yeah, we hiked rates a little bit later, but we were more aggressive here in the United States. And so does that mean that, we actually have a better tame on inflation? And is inflation gonna actually spike up much higher like the UK, or is it going to actually soften a little bit more? Now that's the looming question that's going around the overall markets. And so this is why in my previous video I mentioned that hey, there's a little bit of a stress test going on in the overall markets, and we want to pay attention to what exactly happens on June 30th. But with that being said, I also want to highlight some macroeconomic concerns that I talked about with the Push and Profit Private Group. For example, when we take a look at retail sales year over year, we see that there is a massive decline going down. And so this is not good, because we're seeing that consumer spending is definitely being stifled. And so one of the things I constantly say on this channel is, hey, Tesla stock fundamentally is doing very well in the EV space in comparison to all the other legacy automakers, and this is going to really help Tesla during the recession, but it could get a little bit ugly. I don't think Tesla, I'm definitely by no means bearish on Tesla stock. I'm bullish on Tesla stock for the long term, but there could be a little bit of pain coming soon, especially as we're gonna start feeling a little bit more pain from the economic conditions that are kind of looming in. It's kind of like a hurricane coming towards Florida, right? Of course, at the current moment, everything looks fine, but once the storm comes, well, that's where, all hell is loose. So this is exactly why you want to pay attention to what's going on with Tesla and the overall market, and of course, the overall economy. So with that said, make sure to hit that subscribe button to the channel if you haven't done so already, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And also make sure to check out out the links in the description of this video, because the first link is going to be a link for the Push and Profit private group, where every single day I talk about what stocks I'm looking to trade and invest in, and the actual reason why, and what entry I'm looking to get into, right? But if you guys don't want to join the Push and Profit program, that's completely fine, because there is a free alternative for my weekly newsletter. Now, this is completely free, where every single week I write a newsletter to the subscribers, where I talk about what's going on in the overall economy. So also make sure to check out that link in the description of this video as well. But now, bringing it back to Tesla, we have to talk about this from two separate perspectives, right? One from the perspective of a long-term investor, and also another perspective from the short-term trader. Now, I have exposure to Tesla in my long-term portfolio, and I don't plan on, selling Tesla at all, right? In my long-term portfolio, it's a buy and hold portfolio where I hold index funds, etc. And of course, I have exposure to Tesla. And so really, I haven't been doing anything to, Tesla. In fact, Tesla is already up a significant amount year to date, which has really helped my portfolio. And all I've really been looking for is for that dip to actually buy more shares of Tesla for my long-term portfolio. It's been a little bit of a struggle to actually get, Tesla stock at a discount, right? As there's a famous quote by Warren Buffett goes, where you want to be, fearful when everyone's greedy, right? Meaning I'm not buying while Tesla stock is going up, and then you want to be greedy when everyone's fearful. So for, long-term investors for Tesla like myself, this might actually provide the opportunity, as there is going to be more fear coming into the market, and you may scoop up some shares. Now, me personally, I'm not going to scoop up some shares just on the first dip. I like to wait for the market to actually correct, and I want to see Tesla stock dip down, and then wait for confirmation that the dip is over and an uptrend is coming back. And that's when I'm going to go ahead and add more shares of Tesla to my long-term portfolio. I may also add, of course, to the other indexes that I have exposure to. But, from the perspective of a short-term trader, this may provide an opportunity to short Tesla in the short term. However, even in my short-term trading account, which is separate from my long-term account, I still don't plan on shorting Tesla at all. And the reason I say this is, although there may be an opportunity to profit in the short term, I'm honestly kind of against shorting Tesla at these current levels, simply because we could have more catalyst events happening this summer that could also, boost optimism for Tesla, right? For example, we have the Cybertruck that's, we know is coming into production this summer. And of course, that could stir, a lot of optimism and bullish sentiment into Tesla, where even in the short term as a short seller, there's a lot of risk. And so I honestly am not looking to short Tesla, not even in my short-term trading account. In fact, even in my trading account, I have this, kind of bullish perspective, where when, Tesla kind of goes down, well, that's when I'm going to go long in my short-term trading account, which is, very odd, because typically in my short-term trading account, that's where I take advantage of the things, going down as well. And I trade things going down and up. Of course, it's a short term. But when it comes to Tesla, especially how Tesla is one of the most shorted mega caps out there, there could be a little bit of a short squeeze. And so I'm honestly kind of concerned for anyone that's shorting Tesla, even if Tesla's going down, because at any moment, we could have good news for Tesla, right? We could also have another auto legacy company join the Tesla supercharging network, which, I called out in previous videos that, hey, we had Ford and GM join. We're most likely going to have Rivian. And of course, just like a week later, we had Rivian. Now, I suspect that we're going to have more automakers that are trying to join the EV space, collaborate with Tesla, and this could be bullish for Tesla. So even as a short seller in the short term, I don't want to short Tesla. Now again, you guys don't have to follow anything that I'm doing, right? You guys should only trade or invest in whatever you see value, right? At the end of the day, I'm just someone on YouTube who's providing data, but that's just my, caution on, or just my thoughts on Tesla, even in the short term. I don't plan on, shorting it even with a stick, right? I guess that's a weird way of saying things, but, hopefully this video was able to provide some utility for you guys. Hopefully you guys are able to get some value. And with that being said, guys, make sure to watch this next video right over here, where I talk a little bit more about volume profile and a little bit more on the technical side on how to identify opportunities. With that being said, guys, I'll see you guys on that next video. Take care.